Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm Alyssa, and today I thought I would walk you through my everyday makeup routine, which is so easy and just something I've been able to refine over the years. And yeah, let's get into it. I'm not gonna do my eyes just yet. I'm actually just gonna start with my base. So what I like to do is I have this like clear little like thing for the liquids. I like to use the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. I actually use two shades. It's kind of hard to find shades in my skin tone, so like my best recommendation is to find two that you can blend. Plus you'll have like a shade that you can use for like the winter and then one for the summer, and you can kind of just mix it up to find your best color. So what I like to do is I like to just do one pump of this. So I'll put the two shades together onto this, and then I like to go in with the glowy super gel, and I like to do one pump of this as well. I really like my base to be dewy and moisturized. I'm not really a big fan of a matte look. And then I'll go ahead and I will just mix these with like the end of a brush. So you can see I just put that on here, and you can see how close it is to my skin tone. Before Christmas, I was using like a regular just makeup sponge I got from Target. And then I got these hourglass makeup brushes for Christmas, which was very nice. And this blends actually the foundation so much better, and it actually gives me a more radiant glowy look. So I like to just like focus on the center of my face first, just a little bit, patting. And if I feel like I need a little bit more coverage, I'll go back in. Don't forget to always blend down into your neck. And I'll go into the other side. And then I like to do a little bit more on my nose. And I'll just put a little bit of foundation on my forehead. I don't really need too much coverage up there. My best recommendation is to always do a light layer of foundation first. You can always add more. It's really hard to try to eliminate it if you put on too much. Okay, sorry about that. I actually just realized my camera settings automatically had like a beauty filter on there, so I just took it off. And just so you can see my skin a little bit better and see that I have, you know, some hyperpigmentation on my scalp. And sometimes I like to just dab just a little bit to try to add some coverage, but I will always go back in with a little bit of concealer. I'm a big fan of kind of just letting my skin peek through. I don't really want to cover everything and look too matte, especially for every day. So once I'm done with my foundation, I like to go in with a color corrector. So I'm using the NARS Light Reflecting Eye Brightener. And this is really good for like my dark circles. It's like an orangey base. So I like to just take a brush, and then I just like to pat like right here. And then I just do a little bit down here. And I like to just go back in with the same foundation brush and just kind of buff that out. And quite honestly, like I've had days where I just use this instead of a concealer. I feel like it covers everything pretty nicely. From here, I like to go in with some concealer. So this is from Hourglass. This concealer, I try not to go too heavy with it. It is a lot thicker. And I like to just put like that much underneath my eyes, maybe part right here. And sometimes if I feel like I want to cover the pigmentation on my forehead, I'll add some, but I rarely do. And then just go back in. I really like to just use the same brush for my foundation, concealer, just because it makes everything look a little bit more natural and blended. Once that's done, I like to go in with some liquid blush. This is like a sample size I got of the Say Dew Blush in the color Chili. Same thing, I like to just do a little bit. Like I literally like to just do like a little squirt. You really don't need much for this because we'll go in and we'll add more blush. So we're gonna go in with this blush brush. I'm just gonna do a little bit of a dab on each cheek. And the same thing, you just wanna do light layers first. You don't wanna add everything all at once because it's a lot easier to blend in. Sometimes I like to just add a little bit on my nose. And I love this color so much. I think it looks the best on my skin tone. And then I'm gonna go in with another blush. I'm gonna go in with the Rhode Decay, which is like this dark, almost plum color. And I like to just like do a quick touch and then just pat it out on my hand. And I like to just go in with this. These aren't the most long lasting. They're very easy to use, but they honestly fade really fast. I'm just using it because I already bought it and I can't return it. And I like to use these on my lips as well. But so far I would say I prefer the Say liquid blush over the Rhode pocket blushes. And sometimes I like to add a little bit of bronzer, not too much. So I'll just like lightly tap this and just go in right here. I really tried to avoid bringing the cream bronzer up on my forehead. I just get way too many breakouts, so I like to just focus this. A lot of the creams on my cheeks, my nose. I like to also do a little bit of contour on my nose. Not too much, but just to add a little bit of warmth. Okay, we had to have a little bit of a detour. I was having some problems with my camera and I ran out of storage, but we are back. Okay, so we had just finished up doing some bronzer, and now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to start working on my eyes. So for my eyes, I like to do fairly neutral, like brown tones. I like to go in with the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes, I believe, original palette. And I like to focus on the middle row and the bottom row. The bottom row, like these last two, I really like to do if I'm doing like some eyeliner or if I'm going out for a date. So largely I like to go in with this color. And I like to just put this one all over my eyelid. And I like to also focus it a little bit on the inside of my eye too. Just to almost do a little bit of contouring. And then I like to go in with this darker shade, and I like to mix it with this one. And I like to focus this one on the outside of my eye. It just adds a little bit of color to my eyelids. And then I like to go in with this slightly darker color right here, a little bit, and I like to just do a little bit of a smoky on the end. I found that doing like a brown tone eye really helps my eyes pop since I have really dark brown eyes. And then once I'm done with this, I like to go in with the Naked Urban Decay palette. I used to use my aunt's when I was like a lot younger because I loved this palette so much, and they re-released it. I bought one for myself. I just really love these colors. They go on really smoothly. They're super easy to blend. Comes with a brush, and it's just like kind of gives me like my OG vibes. Then this one, what I like to do is I like to go in with a little bit of a shimmer. So I like to use the color Smog, and I like to just like put that right in the middle of my eye. Sometimes if I like really want my eyes to pop, I'll go in with a lighter gold, which is called Half Baked. I know it's still like super natural. And once I like want a little bit of highlight, I like to put it right here in the inner corner. I like to go in with this color Sidecar, which is like a champagne-y color. I like to just do a little bit, not too much. And sometimes I'll take Sidecar and I'll just do like just a little bit more in the center, right above my lash line. And then once I'm done with that, I don't really like to do like eyeliner like on my waterline unless I'm going out for like a date or going out at night, since that really like it makes my eyes pop and like look more sultry. So my mascara routine is something I really have had to work on over the years. If you're like me where you have really straight lashes that point down, what I like to use is the Shiseido eyelash curler, and I've had this one since high school. I actually found this at TJ Maxx. And what I like to do is look down, and you can see it does a little bit of a lift, but not too much. And what I like to do is I like to lay it down again and do little pulses. And then I like to do midsection, so I'll do like not all the way to my lash line, but halfway. And then I'll do it again, pulse. And then I like to just do the tip of my lashes as well. And then just one more time, I like to do the base. And then I just want to make sure that the spacing of my lashes look good. And then just to show you a comparison between my two lashes, I'll do one eye first. So what I like to use is this Japanese mascara brand. I think it's called Heroin Make. But I found this at Mitsuo Marketplace. This is the mascara base, so a primer for your eyelashes. This one has like fibers in it. And what I like to do is I like to just use this and lightly coat my lashes from the base up. Okay, once this is dried for a little bit, I like to go in with the Long Up Mascara Super Waterproof. And then I just usually just go in with one coat of mascara, and you can see that there's a big difference between my eyelashes now. It's a lot longer, a lot more curled compared to this side. I just feel like it makes my eyes look so much more awake. And I don't put any mascara on my bottom. I just noticed that it just smudges and flakes off. I think I'm perfectly happy with like just the way my top lashes are. So this will last you all day. I really, really recommend you guys try this if you have the same lashes like me. And then I'll just go in with the other eye, assess how that looks. If I feel like, oh, I want like way more lift, I'll go back in and do my base. Do the midsection, tips of my lashes. Go in with mascara primer. And then once my primer's dried, I'll go in with regular mascara. Yeah, this is like what my lashes look like, and they will literally stay all day. It has survived summer, swimming, winter, wind blowing at them. They will stay lifted all day until you want to take it off at night. And I know I said it was like a super waterproof. The brand also makes like a mascara remover, and really what it is, it's like some sort of like oil, and then you just like apply it just like regular mascara, and then you can just go in with like a makeup wipe, some micellar water with a pad, and you can just wipe it right off and it'll just come off like regular tubing mascara, which is a lot easier on your eyelashes. So once I am done with mascara, I like to sometimes go in with like a little bit of a wing. And if I'm gonna do like a wing, I'm doing something like super natural since it's every day. And I like to go in with this color with my eyebrow brush. And I like to just use the angled brush. And I like to just lightly just flick it, and then I'm going on the other side. Last thing for my eyes, I like to go in with my Hourglass palette, and you don't really need to have this. I like to go in with this highlighter, and I like to just lightly put some in the inner corner. And then once I'm done with eyes, I like to go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Brightening Powder, which is slightly different than like the one they're most known for. I've noticed this one actually really does brighten. I like to go in with this small fluffy brush like this, and I just lightly tap, and I like to just slightly like the powder underneath my eyes. And what this really helps with, it really helps blur like your cream products that you've used and your pores. And I like to use it to like set my smile lines as well. Once I'm done with this, I like to go in with the Hourglass face palette. I like to use the Hourglass finishing powder in Radiant Light. I like to go in with like a fluffy brush like this and just like lightly tap it. And I like to use this like all over my face. It's a super light powder and it adds like a little bit of glow. So once I'm done like setting my face with this powder, I like to actually go in with a little bit more blush. I usually like to stick between this one and this one. This one has a little bit of like sheen to it, and this one is just like a nice pinky color. So sometimes I mix that and then slightly stamp that onto my face. If I want like a ton of like blush that's gonna stay for a really, really long time, I'll go in with the Patrick Ta blushes. These will literally last for a really long time, but they're super, super pigmented, so you have to be very, very careful. And what I like to do is I like to go in with the powder first and lightly tap most of that product off. And I just like to flick it on my skin. And then to like set that blush, you go in with the cream version and you just lightly tap it. And you just stamp that on. And then just to like lock up everything, like for my base and my blush, I like to go back in with the Avene Thermal Spring Water. Okay, so now that I've set my face with that water, I'm actually gonna do my lips now. So I'm gonna go ahead and sharpen it. So I know lip colors can actually be an iffy thing, especially for brown girls, because most of the nudes that I was seeing, it was like way too light, way too pink. And the secret is actually a brown lip liner. This will be your savior. And you really don't need multiple lip liners. And it's okay if it's slightly darker because you can always blend it out. And the best lip liners I actually have found that are gonna have like the widest range, to be honest, and they are a little bit pricey, is the MAC lip liners. These ones are so good. The only downside of them is that I found to have like the tips break a lot. So what I like to do for my lips, and if you can see, I have like a double lip line. I just learned that. And what that basically means is my lip color actually stops before my actual lips end. I like to do is I like to almost look like it's slightly overlining, but really it's where my lip ends. And I only like to do that for the top part of my lip. Towards the end, I like to just try to get back to where the actual lip color is. And what that does, it helps with a pout in the middle of your lips. I know it looks a little crazy, but we will blend this out. So once I've lined my lips like this, I actually like to take the Rhode peptide lip shape, and I like to use the little blender thing. And I just like to just go over where I lined it just to make sure it blends and it makes the lines look a little bit more softer. And here you can kind of do the overlining where you can kind of just blend it out just a little bit. Or if you like prefer, you can always use your fingers too and just kind of dab. This helps really blur out the lips. And then I like to go in with this MAC Lustreglass lipstick, which is a little bit shinier. And I like to just dab this right in the center of my lips. I like to go back in with the Rhode Pocket Blush, and I just take a little bit of a makeup brush and just slightly dab it on the center of my lips. Just to finish off my lips, I like to go in with a lip gloss typically, and I'm just going to put in just a little bit in the center. I just took out my hair clip, and I'm just going to fix my hair up just a little bit. So this is the final look. It's super easy and like clean girl, glowy, no makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like more content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!